All right. Well, let's move on to that question from Swizz Cheese. It says, the wife and I have a unique tax circumstances, so we file married filing separately. So 1, can you speak to financial planning implications of filing separately? And 2, we're currently doing Roth 503B, but want to do a Roth IRA. Can I do a backdoor while married filing separately? So can you just give a little guidance on this unique situation?
So one of the unique things, a lot of people don't realize this, is that when it comes time to file your tax return, you can kind of choose your filing status. Some couples can choose married filing joint return, which is the common filing structure for couples, but some other folks, you can elect to do a married filing separate return where there are different limits and different rules that apply to each of your incomes. You essentially report your incomes independent of one another and you fill out your taxes accordingly. And in some scenarios, when you actually look at the bottom line taxes paid, it could be more advantageous in certain circumstances to file married filing separately versus married filing jointly. Now, Swizz, I don't know what the answer is in your case, but here's what you do need to know. And Brian, you've done taxes for like a gazillion years, a trained CPA, which is super, super impressive. When you change your filing status, whether you're going from single to married filing jointly or married filing jointly to head of household or married filing jointly to married filing separately, the tax rules that apply to you and even some of the things that make you eligible for things like Roth contributions and Roth income limits begin to change. So one of the things I would encourage you to look at, and most accounting software will allow you to do this, or if you have a really good accountant, it'll let you do this. You can run your return one way, and then you can look at it another way, and you can compare the differences. Well, if we do it married filing jointly, this is the bottom line tax we pay, and these are the credits we hit, and da-da-da-da-da. Married filing separately, different. So you should look at it both ways and figure out which one is optimal for your situation and circumstance.
I mean, look, married filing separately is such a unique structure, just so people know that means that likely, and I don't know their specific situation, but it is a very, you don't typically default to wanting to file separately. Typically, you're trying to keep.
It's normally less advantageous.
Yeah, there's liability protections, innocent spouse protections. There's all kind of things while you file separate. I will tell you, it blows up a lot of planning opportunities. That's why it has to rise to a threshold that you have this structure. I had to, because at first I didn't know the answer either, so I thought fortunately I keep these nerdy little tax references so that I don't get too stumped. And listen, this is pretty fascinating, is that, it all comes to, because the IRS is so, they thought about this. They want to know, if you're filing separate, do you live with your spouse? Do you not live with your spouse? And that matters, because if you live with your spouse, like on Roth phase out, income phase outs, we know typically for like a married couple, I mean, that thing is close to $230,000 to $240,000.
Yeah.
If you live with your spouse, your income phase out is $0 to $10,000.
A little bit different.
So you pretty much can't do Roth if you're filing separate, because if you're living with your spouse. If you live out away from your spouse, y'all are filing separate returns. Maybe this is separated, like the marriage is coming to an end or something. It does go up to $146,000 to $161,000 income phase out for 2024. So you can see there's a lot of restrictions. Be careful. Do your research. And then also just make sure that the reason y'all are filing separate really is you were told this by an attorney, or you were told by somebody has done all the work, because it does add some complications. I'll leave it to you to do the due diligence and research, but that's a great question. I wish I had the rosy answer that told you, no, rock and roll, just contribute like normal, but it's a pretty complex situation.
Yep.